and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, once again, welcome. The board is present with the exception of Mrs. Smith, who's excused tonight. At this time, I'd like to turn the mic over to Trustee Posiask for just a second.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. 19 years ago today, this township lost John Neidhart. John was a swell trustee. He was a great person outside of his trustee work. I counted him as a mentor and a friend, and I asked for permission for a moment of silence to remember a good guy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Posiask. Let's see, moving on. At this time, I will request any additions or deletions to the agenda.
Mr. Supervisor?
Mr. Bundy.
Yes, I'd like to move that we delete action item number 3, cloud storage for township records at this time.
Support.
The basis of that is we haven't had time to discuss it fully, so it would be premature to vote on anything.
Okay, who is the support on that? So, okay, supported by, moved by Trustee Bundy, seconded by Treasurer Van Oss to delete action item number 3. Okay, any discussion among the board? Okay, those in favor of removing action item number 3, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. And we will delete then, please, action item number 3. Any other additions, deletions to the agenda? Okay, with none offered, those in, I move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Support.
Okay, the first support was Trustee Bundy. Those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The agenda stands amended. With that, no presentations. We'll open the mic to public comment, limited to action items on the agenda. Now that there's only 2 action items. Okay, Okay, Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
Almost didn't beat the countdown, but for you.
Hi, I'm Carl Moore, 8554 Bellevue. I'm representing the inline skating rink for Groseal. This rink has been constructed the last 8 years, and we're updating considerably because of the funds. As of right now, we have a little shortfall issue. I'm asking the board to consider the remainder of the funds that's needed. I believe it's roughly $33,000, somewhere right in there. We'll be continuing fundraising and throughout the years until we can make up the money that the board could possibly give the rink. I did a fundraiser for when the Island Fest was here, and I have a check for $1,500 that I'm going to give to the rec department for the rink, and we plan on doing that, considerably next year. We also plan on next summer having a golf outing, which was a huge contribution towards the rink with the Michael Horton Foundation. That raised, I believe, almost $22,000. So we have a lot on agenda to raise this money, okay, for the approval of the remainder balance that's needed to complete the rink. Okay, what we need is the boards and the fencing, okay, and we already have the structure down, the cement, so we're more than halfway there, so I'm asking the support from the board to complete this rink. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any other public comment on the agenda items from the public present? All right, with none offered, we'll move on to consent agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to approve consent agenda 14-074, which are the minutes of the July 28th regular meeting, approval of check register dated August 22nd, 2014, and amendment and restated urban county cooperative agreement for the federal CDBG program, grant program.
Support.
Okay, moved by Treasurer Van Oust, seconded by Trustee Budney to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion among the board on the consent agenda? All right, we've now offered those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. The consent agenda stands approved. Let's move to action items. Let's see. Number one, Mr. Modesto, would you please introduce?
The proposed motion is to approve quotation number 062614-GRO dated June 27, 2014 with the Becker Arena Products for the purchase and installation of a BAP 6-0 Signature Series outdoor hockey dashboard system for the Water's Edge all-season sports pad in the amount of $88,460. and 16 cents, with the funds to come from the reserve for capital purchases, $30,000, the rink escrow fund at $58,460.16. Furthermore, the estimated escrow fund shortfall of $38,155.85 shall be replenished by future fundraising efforts and rink facility fees.
Support.
Okay, moved by Trustee Malvesto, seconded by Trustee Budney. You want to turn over the explanation?
Dale, will you be so kind?
Thank you, sir. If I could give a brief overview, I wanted to point out that this quotation referenced, we used the National Joint Powers Alliance Cooperative Purchasing Program, which is a nationwide pre-bidding service, if you will, for these special sports items. So we researched the items, and the dasher board system, which you see on the picture, will be the boards, the walls with the fencing that we will put on the existing concrete pad that we have in place for this all-season facility. Now on the funding, I guess if I could elaborate a little bit more, we currently have that $30,000 budgeted that was referenced in the motion in the recreation budget. And there have been numerous fundraising efforts for many years. The Michael Horton Foundation, the Hockey Association, rink enthusiast Mr. Moore, Moore Landscaping, and many, many, many volunteers throughout the community. And they have raised a total of $53,642 so far. So I think they're anxious and excited to continue with this fundraising issue, but obviously this has been a step-by-step process, and I think we all believe that once this is completed, we'll be able to flourish with finalizing those fundraising efforts. On ways we can do this with all their different fundraising, advertising on the rink, banners. We will be evaluating some type of fee system or structure, for the actual use and operation of this facility. The banners will be annual type sponsorships, if you will. And then obviously when this is done, we still want to continue to do these types of things so we can have maintenance and keep the facility open and up to par for year-round. So where are we with that? Well, we obviously want to take this next step closer. I know by working with Chairman Ketcher and Trustee Malvesto, they've asked me to start working with these groups. Obviously, this is a project that was, I know Mr. Rooney really wanted to have this at the previous meeting before he left, but everything was coming together slowly. But this just goes to show you that these things take time, and if you systematically take the approach, that we can get to this point. So I would ask that we take this next step. And I guess one thing on the future fundraising efforts I want to make the board and the community feel good about is if you see that this isn't working or we're not fundraising enough, these groups aren't fundraising enough, just give me my marching orders and tell me, Dale, get out there, get these groups going, start some fundraising, because we always have that option. And outside of that, we could ask, hey, let's take the money out of our fund balance. Well, we see that that's something that, knowing how we were the approach we were taking on this project from the beginning, we don't want to stray away from that. We don't think it's necessary. So with that, the contractor is waiting for the approval and is trying to get it scheduled with our confirmation sometime this week, hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days.
So we have the pad is there. It's ready for the boards.
Yes.
So we get the boards in, the thing will be operational. If we don't put the boards in, we just have to leave it cordoned off.
Yes.
So we're not getting any use out of it now. If we add the boards, then it becomes another asset for the community. It's kind of my look at it. It's not doing us any good right now. When we add the boards, make it safe, make it usable, we have another asset. Everything we put at Water's Edge gets used, except the golf course, not quite enough. But it gets used, but not from a funding standpoint. We haven't figured out how to monetize some of it. Maybe we never will. Maybe they'll just be community assets. But the volleyball, the basketball courts, they get used. They're popular items. So this will extend. If the winter like last winter, we'll have plenty of ice. This may extend some of the offerings from the Water's Edge. So again, it's not doing us. The situation we are right now, we have no asset. With the boards, we do. Am I reasonably accurate in that assessment?
Certainly, yes, sir.
Okay.
But Mr. Loftus, Mr.
Mr.
Supervisor, that I guess is your opinion. I just think this is another one of those good ideas that hasn't been managed properly, as can be seen by the fact that we got to borrow money. We don't have enough money to finish it. We didn't, when it was presented, as it was presented along the lines, the total picture was never really presented accurately to us. When we did our budget, it was said, give me $30,000, we're going to put boards up. Now that $30,000 is what now? $88,000. The rink is a good idea. Nobody, I'm not against the rink. I'm against going forward when we're not ready. We have nobody over there to supervise it. And I know there's been discussion about placing somebody to overlook this. That's not the way to do it. We need to get a rec director who's going to be responsible and accountable for it. If we get a volunteer, whoever that is, whether it's an employee or an outside, a resident, there's going to be no accountability. We're going to thank them for doing it, and if something goes wrong, we're going to, not their fault because they were just a volunteer. That's the way we always do it. I think we should hold off until we get a rec director to do this. Yes, we have a pad there. Yes, it's not being used, but it's better that we do it right, especially with the amount of money that we're talking about, rather than do it haphazardly and come back and have to correct something later on. There's a lot of questions that still are out there regarding how this is going to be maintained, who's going to look after it. You mentioned, Dale, that we're looking into whether we're going to maybe charge for certain things. Well, those things should be known before we do it, not going along.
And those guidelines, those usage rules, and those fees do need to be put together.
And I know it's terrible to drive over there and look at this and see it cordoned off, but I just hate to see us rush into another good idea and possibly have it turn out bad.
Yeah.
So at this time, I think we should hold off. It gives the fundraisers more time to raise more money, so there possibly wouldn't be a shortfall. And we can do this. This group that you talked about, they're not going away. I mean, where you got the boards, can get the boards from. The boards will be out there later on. We can do this one at the proper time when everything is in place, rather than doing it just like we are now. We got the base and we didn't have boards. Why wasn't that all set up to begin with and before we go forth with a project? It's just too much money to be playing around with and looking at it kind of haphazardly. Like I say, it's a great idea, but let's do it right.
I'm going to take a little different tack on that. We have a sunk cost. We have the base there. We can't do anything with it. It's hard. It's going to be harder. It's going to be easier to raise funds if the boards are there and we can sell advertising. I mean, it just opens the door. Yeah, possibly we should have approached the whole thing differently. Would we have ever raised enough funds to have it ready to go start to finish? Maybe well into the future? Maybe. But we have the base. It's not doing us any good. $30,000 gets us the boards. Really increases our opportunity for ribbon cutting, for events that will attract attention, it'll attract additional fundraising capability, the advertising potential on the dasher boards. We've committed this far. We've got a sunk cost. We have what we have. I think with the addition of the dasher boards, we'll have it operational. We'll have community interest. The ability for the entities to raise funds will be dramatically improved, and I just think it's the necessary next step. Perhaps we should have initially started differently. I can't fix that. So with what we have now, I think this is the proper course of action. Anybody else want to jump in? Mr. Alvesto.
Thank you. Jim, I agree with you a lot of what you say. A project of this size, it should have a first page and it should have a last page, and with everything completed in the middle. But going forward, yes, we do have the base down now. We have the curbs. The curbs are down there. The boards that mount on top of it are an all-weather board. They're top quality. They're going to last for a very long time. With a new rec director manager, there's a lot of activities at Water's Edge that are going to be looked at, analyzed, and changes made as to how we proceed. In this case, with the skating rink, we'll be able to put advertising up there, much like you see in any hockey game. But at the same time, to delay right now and wait for additional fundraisers, we're not going to get a golf outing until sometime next summer, which puts it till next fall, and to come up with $30,000. I have verbal commitments from people associated with this rink project that the fundraising efforts will continue until it is paid off. And again, with the new rec director, one of their goals is going to make sure that a lot of activities at Water's Edge for the township are going to come under a little different light, be handled in a little different manner. And this is going to be one of them, because we can't afford to write the check and then have everybody walk away. And right now, the assurance is that that's not going to happen. Fundraisers will continue. We're going to get it paid off. I agree with you. In the future, large projects can't be handled this way, but we don't want to discourage people from taking a project on and doing fundraising to get it paid. That's how a lot of our activities on Grosse Ile take place, through volunteerism, fundraising. Going forward, we can change. I'd really like to go forward with this one right now to get this thing installed by the end of fall. Hopefully we'll be able to use it this coming winter for ice hockey. But again, the way things are handled, the way activities are handled, that'll all be the responsibility of the new manager, whomever it is. So I would ask for your support.
I'm sorry, Mr. Treasurer.
Dale, how much have we got invested in this rink already?
Make sure I don't tell you wrong. We had a $50,000 grant from Wayne County. We have, let me see, we had the additional concrete pad work. So if this, and am I doing this correctly? We have
$63,000 was for the cement pad plus engineering. The grant covered 50 of it, so it's at least probably about $15,000 at least. $15,000 to $18,000 is already in it. That's software.
From where? Where did they come from?
The fundraising. Everything has been paid for so far by fundraising and the grant, and I think if I...
total expenditures have been over $100,000.
Right. But includes
So
the grant.
the total expenditures to date have been 100,000?
Is that correct, Ian?
60, oh, no, well, we got some expenditures. I got $83,000, but that's some of the stuff from the country club, so that we paid, so 80, but the grant, like I said, the grant, we got $50,000 back. I don't even, oh, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page.
You have the accounting with you.
Yes, I do. And so they've made some expenditures and whatever the.
Oh, that's the total, that's the
Yes.
total amount that's gone through the
83
account.
has gone through the account. So
Okay.
there's probably been at least 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, I'm guessing around $20,000 just from the concrete pad and all the engineering. $50,000 was covered by the grant. And I think there was maybe a time frame to get that pad in to accept that grant before that expired. I think that's why this.
I understand that. So we're currently sitting probably real close to a $75,000, $80,000
Yes.
investment here.
Yes, sir.
Where are we going to, if we go forward with this, where were we proposing to take these funds?
$30,000 was coming out of the rec department, which was budgeted, and the rest we will keep it in the escrow fund as a negative balance and fill up the pot.
Wait a minute.
Separate
Cash
account.
has to come from someplace.
The escrow fund, and our total escrow fund, which holds a lot of deposits, escrow deposit, bond deposit. So there's money available. So I will just run it as a payable until they start filling up the pot. It's an ongoing balance.
So
We'll have to basically borrow it to them until it fills.
So the base price that we're dealing with, I'm just trying to get these numbers straight.
Right.
And this really should have been presented differently, but we won't get into that.
Right, go to the page 102 and 202. That's the physical accounting of day one of what has come in to this escrow fund and what has went out on page of your board packet. That's the actual accounting. So I'm separately accounting for this in the escrow account, in the escrow fund. So we have that balance of what was raised, what has went out, what has went in for this account. And $30,000 is the only thing that's come out of the rec department so far that will be budgeted for this year. Everything else is running through this escrow fund.
Now, are we going to loan this money from the escrow?
Basically, yes.
And are we going to charge interest for that?
Not on the escrow. It's your balance. You're paying yourself, really, as they accumulate.
These are funds that are sitting in that account right now.
It's all donation funds.
So if we don't vote for it, we got a $80,000 slab of cement that's not being used.
That's correct.
I think we kind of went at this one backwards, huh?
Maybe.
Well, I understand the problems, and I understand the commitment. I happen to know the participants, and I'm very confident that the participants will do what they say they do, but we have a responsibility, and now the responsibility that we have to do is weigh what we've invested versus what we're required to invest to get some usage out of this particular piece of equipment or property.
I mean, just so you guys are aware, the last golf outing that they had raised about $40,000.
I understand that. I have no qualms that this money will get raised. I just am not real comfortable with the way we went at it. But
Well, and I think that it's important to point out that this was a project that was not broken into phases in relationship to a schedule. It was listed in the master plan, and when we were able to capitalize on the county funding, That's,
Sure.
we took that step. And I think we all would have hoped that we wouldn't be asking for a temporary loan, if you will, but that's just the way it.
Well, the fact of the matter is, we decided, being this board and the township, decided that was going to be the way we applied that grant. I mean, there probably was other things we could have applied that grant to. We chose this. So we are committed to this point to $80,000+. Okay. That answers all my questions.
So, yeah, Mr. Supervisor, a lot of good points have been brought up. Jim, you certainly bring up a lot of good points, and I think the way this has gone about, we can debate that, a lot of times, and from both sides. At the end of the day, it's a sunk cost that we've already got in there. We've accepted a $50,000 grant a couple of years ago. We knew this was a liability, and we knew that. And we actually budgeted for it as well. So we've got the budget is in there. We knew this was coming, or we knew the potential was coming. The group that started this has already raised in excess of $58,000. So there's no issue from my standpoint that we're not going to be able to pay this back. And I think we're accounting for this properly, right? We're not just writing the check out of general fund. We're saying, yeah, we're going to finish this project. We're going to hold the people accountable to bring this back, and we're going to keep this as an open accounts receivable until it's paid off.
Everything is accounted for through that actual account.
Other comments, questions?
Mr. Supervisor,
Mr. Bozak.
I am understanding of the both sides of this argument, and I am leaning very heavily towards saying we are so far into this at this point that there's only one decision that we can make, and that will be to support it with the rest of the funding. I've had my first experience with fundraising by a group, and it's tedious. Takes some time to do, but when you have a group that's as dedicated as the group that's putting the bricks together, it was easy to see it. It's a great example that'll prove on the skating rink in a larger scale that these volunteers will get it done. I can't see leaving this thing blank until some point when we have enough money to pay cash for the remainder, because that's just cutting our own noses off down there. Let's get this thing operational. Let's get those dasher boards up. Let's get some advertisement and some fees. Yeah, we need a new township recreation manager, but that's coming. And so is this funding. We're into this too deep to go back. It's kind of like crossing the ocean. It's closer to get to the other shore at this point. Let's go for it.
Okay. Mr. Treasurer, do you have
I just have a final comment. This community operates a lot on fundraisers and community participation. And I think to vote no for this would discourage that. And that's the last thing I want to do, is discourage public participation. So that's all I got to say. I understand the qualms about it. I think it's a good project. I think it's a recreation project, and like all recreation projects, it's going to cost us money, but I firmly believe we should move forward at this point.
Mr. Buddy, final comments?
Nothing.
Okay. Other comments from the board? All right. With none offered, I've got to read this properly. All right. Sometimes this technology still eludes me, but I got it right. I had it right.
Would you like old school?
Yeah, okay. The motion is to approve quotation number 062614-GRO dated June 27, 2014. And the short version is to Let's see, funds come from capital reserve purchases, $30,000, the rink escrow, $58,460, and the estimated escrow fund shortfall of $38,155.85 shall be replenished by future fundraising efforts and rink facility fees. Those in favor of moving according to this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, note that trustee Budney opposed, but the motion carries 5-1. Okay, thank you. We'll move on with that. And let's move on to action item 2. And I'll introduce this. I move that the board authorize the township manager to dispose of recreation and fire department fixed assets as a negotiated sale under section 4.6D, disposal of fixed assets of the Grosseto Township Administrative Policies and Procedures Manual. These fixed assets include club car maintenance golf cart, Jacobson three-wheel work cart, Jacobson turf cat lawnmower, 1978 Ford tractor loader, 1995 16-foot snowmobile trailer, which was the water rescue trailer, 14-foot aluminum boat, 1988 Grumman fire engine, Viper Cairns thermal imaging cameras, Hearst hydraulic jaws of life. Waiting for support.
Support.
Okay, I guess I'll give that to Mr. Budney. He's fastest on that. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Riem to give some of the background on this and maybe drag the chief up.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Forget the fire department. We already sold the truck. Right?
How do we do it?
I said we already sold the truck. We're
This Iowa.
As we had put in the report in the background material, when that purchase of the new truck was being made, it was communicated that we're going to look at finding a purchaser for this truck. We were using our broker to handle that and go nationally, which is the way it actually had worked out.
We're going to miss her.
There's the truck, and Chief, you want to talk about your equipment in greater detail, please? The specific truck and.
That's a 1988 Grumman that we agreed to replace and put it up for sale at time of purchase of the new truck. It's been out on the market for at least 4 months, 5 months. We got to buy we were asking 40 grand with equipment on it, some of the aging equipment, and buyer came back with a $36,000 price tag. We tried to negotiate them up, and they were pretty firm. And it was an opportunity to get rid of a truck that's 26, 25 years old. So we took that opportunity. So a lot of it doesn't meet NFPA standards, but this fire company is going to do, I guess they're going to do some major welding to it to make it work for them. So that's what we're doing with that truck. Again, the water rescue trailer, this was a trailer that we built, the firefighters, in its infant stage, not knowing what direction we were going to go in water rescue. And as we all well know, we've really taken on a huge responsibility when it comes to water rescue downriver wide. So we have actually replaced this trailer with a trailer by Loadmaster. In fact, I'm picking it up Thursday, and that meets our needs at this point in time, and we're taking all the equipment off it that's loose and putting it on our two-seat fire truck and turning that into a rescue truck, because NFPA's come out with some more standards about loose equipment running down the road, falling off, hurting people and things of that nature. So we're replacing it with a trailer built specifically for what our needs are. The boat, of course, was given to us by the Coast Guard 15 years ago, and they had it for 20 years prior to that. It leaks like a sieve. So we did replace that. That's coming at the end of the month as well. So we're replacing that with a new boat. So this is actually this is one of our new pieces of equipment. We're not replacing that, but that's what the old one looks like from the 70s. Like I discussed when we replaced the jaws originally, the old jaws aren't cutting these high tensile steels on cars, borons and things of that nature. So these tools are used, we sold them with the truck because this fire company out in Iowa doesn't have anything and can't afford $40,000 worth of new equipment. So this is the used equipment is kind of a good temporary situation for them. So, and with Grozil, 90% of our stock cars are late model cars. So that's why the new equipment.
That's an hydraulic model cutter?
Yeah, they're hydraulic.
We've gone to the battery model.
These are all battery operated now by Hearst, and we got rid of all the hydraulic equipment, all the hoses and all that kind of stuff. Because some of our car accidents that take place are 100 feet away from the truck, and they don't reach that far. So these come, they're half the weight, and we can get places with them that we, not necessarily could get to originally. So, and then this was the original thermal imaging back 12 years ago. How old are they, Ann? 12 years old. Like computers and everything else, modern technology. These are black and whites. They're big, they're bulky. The new ones that we got, I think 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago we got them, are smaller. They tell us the heat index inside the room. They're color coded, they're color imaging to tell us what's hot, what's cold, and all that kind of stuff. So this fire company, again, had no imaging cameras. So it was kind of a package deal that we worked out to get rid of equipment that's been sitting around our station for a couple of years, and in some respects help another fire station out a little bit too. So that's what it was all about. So I think we did pretty good considering everything is old. So.
Now, on the less exciting side of equipment, we had some surplus lawn equipment from Water's Edge. We have a work cart, which is actually kind of unusual and neat, so I can use this opportunity as a commercial if anyone's interested in a purchase. Old lawnmower, a turf cat, golf cart, and a tractor loader. The tractor loader is operational, however, it needs probably $3,000 worth of hydraulic repair. So this thing is far exceeded its life. That's a 78, and if you know our maintenance staff, they meticulously take care of things. That's why they've lasted as long as they have. So we currently have interest of a vendor who would like to purchase these items from us, and obviously according to our disposal of assets regulations, I wanted to come here tonight and get board approval to do these through negotiated sales, and we're not sold on one person. If other people are interested, and I'm going to try to get the word out a little bit more to see if there's other interest for some of these items, so we can get the best price, and that the funds that would be collected would go to their actual department that they would come from.
Well, that's how we dispose of the stuff we no longer use and replace it with newer, better stuff. Questions, comments from the board?
No, I guess if I could add, the other option that we have is we could do this, put this in the auction annually or every other year. So often the police department has auctions where we do get rid of some of this equipment in that manner. But as you can see, this list of group of items would not really be a good auction item thing for.
Not at a local auction.
Exactly.
I don't think the fire engine would have moved at a local auction.
So that's why we're asking the board to approve this action.
Comments, questions? Yeah, I think it may, obviously, the fire department is meticulous on having the right equipment, divesting of old equipment. That was, I recall that part of our discussions when we authorized the purchase of the new engine, that the old one would be repurposed as best possible. The wreck stuff, some of that stuff just looks like you could get hurt on it. It would look like to me, but this is the way we're going to run business. So No questions, comments from the board? Those in favor? Let me go back to the motion. Okay, those in favor of authorizing the township manager to dispose of the recreation and fire department fixed assets previously read, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered? All right, go sell that stuff and balance our budget. That will conclude our action items. This time, we'll step over to the clerk's report. Clerk Ranka.
Mr. Supervisor, before we start off, we haven't had a meeting since the election. I just wanted to start off by thanking the poll workers, the election inspectors, and the receiving board folks, as well as the staff, Brian and Sharon and Gail. So the election went off very well. And it's just a testament to the people we have who are dedicated to helping us out, both in the community and the staff. The clerk's report, there was another election coming up, so the last day to register to vote in the November 4th general election will be October 6th by 4 p.m. Absentee ballots will be available in the clerk's office until the week of September 22nd. And some results from the last election. We had 2,567 voters turn out for the primary August election, which was roughly 29% of registered voters. And just as a word of note, both Grosedale local millages for police and fire renewals passed. That's it for the clerk's report.
Okay, thank you. I think the overall, was it Wayne County or state of Michigan, the overall voter turnout was in the 15% range. Something rather dismal. And Grosedale voters, thank you for caring about your government. That's how we should make things work. Great percentage turnout.
Yep.
With that, I'll turn over to Treasurer Van Oss.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. For the investment report for the month of July shows a total of $9,265,632 invested in various accounts. The average interest rate, or the average of the interest rate, was about 0.25%. It's a little better than it has been, but it's still really nasty. 2014 summer tax bills are due in about 3 weeks, September 16th. Options for tax payments include by mail, including online banking payments, in person at Township Hall, or after hours we have the drop box. You can put it in the drop box. At your Grosedale branch or credit union, credit or debit cards payments may be taken with a convenience charge of 3%, which is really pretty steep. That's what we're getting charged. These card payments can be made online at grosedale.com. Deferments for the extension of the tax bills for those who qualify, and those are certain persons with incomes under $40,000. Deferments may be filed with the Treasurer's Office by the September 16, 2014. Approved deferments will extend the September 16th due date until February 14th, 2015. To this date, we've collected about $2,181,555, which is about 80% of the total tax roll. So as you can see, for the next 14 days, we're going to get really busy here. That's about the same as we were last year at this time.
Mr. Supervisor?
At the Commerce Park meeting, I just want to bring up a couple of issues. There might be some residents listening. There's some issues that were brought in front of the Commerce Park Commission about airport noise during the jets and also during the fast track operations. We've taken that under advisement at the board, at the commission level. We're also going to bring that to the Airport Advisory Commission, and we will be discussing this at a later time with the Airport Commerce Park Commission, and we will probably at some point get involved with the Township Board. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Mrs. Gray, do you have a comment?
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a typographical error on the date that the taxes are due. It's actually September 15th, not 16th, so I just wanted to clarify that for the people at home.
It's a good one to clarify.
Yeah, let's see, 1% times 60%, that makes pretty good money. Yeah, hard things. So it is the 15th it's due?
Mr. Laughlin, the bill actually says the 15th on it.
Okay, the ones that the residents got, okay.
I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gray. All right, moving on to trustee reports. Mr. Modesto.
Well, I really don't have anything to say tonight other than I'd like to, if you see on your screen, announce that on September 9th, the We Kayak group, we're going to have a little barbecue after the paddle. There's going to be hot dogs, chips, brownies, some pop, water. Just sit around and talk. There's been a nice attendance on Tuesday nights when the weather's allowed of paddlers taking advantage of the kayak launch. So this is just a way to end of the season, kind of bring everybody together and have a good evening. Any kayakers invited. We encourage you to make a reservation so we know how many people to expect on the We Kayak, the Facebook. But that'd be We Kayak Grow Seal. Anyways, I would like to make a comment. We've had a pretty good summer, weather-wise, rain-wise, and the island's been pretty green, pretty lush. But there's a lot of. You go down Cove Street and you see the flower baskets hanging off the light poles. I know that the people that work on that are there daily watering and taking care of them. Art Kester and his wife working on the gardens at Four Corners and other places on Grow Seal. There's a lot of volunteers that have put a lot of time into this island. I just, as I drive around, I just can't help to think how beautiful the island is. What a nice picture it presents to people coming on. I want to thank all those people. I don't know all your names, but you've done a wonderful job and got the island looking great. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Modesto. I share your sentiments. Mr. Budney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Being late in the month, our DPS meeting has already taken place. I would like to say that with the heavy rains that we had, we really didn't have many drainage problems. Last year, if you remember all the rain we had plenty of drainage problems, and we've addressed them and as best we could, and it seems to have helped. Tomorrow is a ZBA meeting. I encourage everybody to come to that. It's I think we have a replacement of a gazebo, so I mean that should draw a lot of people in. And I just wanted to update you on our ordinance enforcement. To date, we've had 50 active cases, 32 closed. Completed, everything taken care of. We have currently 15 cases open and ongoing, and we've issued 3 tickets, but actually with those, even though we've followed the process and issued those tickets, we actually expect all 3 of those cases to be wrapped up without having to go to court, so we're pretty pleased. That's it.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Budney. And let's see, Mr. Posias.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. A few things. Our fountain, please join us after the meeting, and I'll buy everyone a drink at the new fountain. It's cold and it's wet, and Woody says it's delicious. The fountain is installed and running, but the bricks are not laid yet, the dedication bricks. We have some details that'll be forthcoming, but we're going to have bricks around that fountain in time for the dedication ceremony on September 27th at 10 o'clock a.m. There'll be more details forthcoming, but Island Roadrunners wants to really dedicate that fountain. They're very proud of it. I think we as a township are very proud of it, and I'm especially proud of all of the people who have worked so hard trying to figure out how to get this thing done in time. So it's going to look pretty when it's done, and thank you to everybody who has worked on it. A couple of things about bridge repairs. Not free bridge, not toll bridge, bike path bridges. So everybody can settle down now. We've had very little extraordinary maintenance on the 3 wooden bridges since we've built them. And there are places on the bridge that are starting to show some wear and tear. We did a very extensive walk of the bridge, of all 3 of our bridges, several times. And we have found some loose boards, some bent boards, warped. some screws showing up, backing out of wood, and so we're going to undertake a reconditioning of the 3 bridges, if you will, to put them back into first-class shape. And then probably by the middle of September, that will be finished. We've gotten a commitment to start those repairs on August 27th, which is the day after tomorrow. Horsemill, the new bike path has had some issues with ponding. We've also gotten a commitment to start the repairs on that on the 27th. The Bike Path Committee will have its next meeting on September 16th at 7:30 p.m. And we of Bike Path are going to join the Island Roadrunners and invite everyone to come down and dedicate that fountain. That's a real testimony to a lot of people working together to get the fountain running. And finally, the Greenways Open Space Committee will have their next meeting on September 2nd, which is the day after Labor Day. I'm not sure of content on that, but one of the things I am sure of is that there is a wood cutting event in the fall, and someone in the audience during the general comments will be speaking to that. He has a bright yellow shirt on. End of my report.
Good evening, Mr. Posias. All right, well, that circles around to me. I'll start out. I'm sure you all noticed the Island-wide garage sale was this weekend. I think Carol had about 150 customers signed up, and who knows how many others, but glad the island looked good because we had lots of visitors from off the island, and it was pretty busy. So those of you who showed courtesy, because some of the people parked blocking the roads, and I guess, but the courtesy that the Grocio residents showed to their fellow residents and the visitors, much appreciated. I didn't hear any complaints. Concert on the Commons, the last one is this Sunday, August 31st, 7 to 8 p.m. at the Macomb Commons. Water's Edge Kayak, that'll be this coming Tuesday also, will it not? It's still going on every Tuesday evening?
That's correct.
Okay, so you don't have to wait to get the free eats. You can come and kayak before then, see if you really want to continue doing it. The Historical Society hosting the fourth Sunday, September 28th, Naval Air Station Grocio Lobby Museum at Township Hall. Reservations required can be made by calling Tammy Taylor at 734-675-7294 or at info@gihistory.org. Additionally, the Historical Society hosts its annual Lighthouse Tour on September 14th. It's Sunday afternoon. Limited availability. We can only run about 100 people through the lighthouse in the time allotted. I will be your docent at the top of the lighthouse, so if it's really hot, I get real uncomfortable, but you can hear my short history of the Lighthouse at Grocio. Tickets are available at the Grocio Historical Museum, or by, again, contacting Tammy Taylor, info@gihistory.org, or 734-675-7294. I think she's in the book also. Okay, back to school. School's open on Tuesday, September 2nd. The kids will be out again, hopefully on the bike path, riding their bikes, walking. Please watch out for kids going to and from school. Township offices will be closed Monday, September 1st in honor of the Labor Day holiday. So Monday, Tuesday, normal hours on Tuesday. Okay, part of the things that make my job so much fun, I've had this afternoon was my third conference call with basically Wayne County Emergency Management. We had representatives from the state, Congressman Dingell was in on it, and we were pretty lucky. I'll just read what has gone out so far and take this as a heartfelt appreciation. Just had a resident complained that his entire street was flooded due to poor drainage. That was either our fault or Wayne County's. Grocio Township recorded 4.1 inches of rain over Monday the 11th and Tuesday, August 12th. And as of noon the following day, Wednesday, Fire Chief Murdoch had inspected the area that was reported flooding at my request, and there was no standing water. Overall, the township suffered very little compared to other nearby communities from the storms. I credit our success to our proactive approach to these known threats, including our drainage grant program, which you have funded with your tax dollars, which enables residents with township assistance to alleviate drainage problems in low-lying areas, our ongoing drain maintenance efforts, inspecting, clearing, and improving drainage throughout the township, Your assistants, residents, when you clean the grates and the culverts that lead to the drainage system, that really helped with the drainage, and also the fact that our relatively short drainage runs certainly helped. The improvements we've made at great expense to our wastewater treatment plant. The increased capacity of the delivery system meant no sewage backups in homes or basements, at least none that were reported to me, and it all made it to the plant. And due to our increased storage capacity, Grosse Township discharged no untreated water. Other communities did. Also working with DT Energy, we made our electric delivery infrastructure more robust, enabling it to withstand weather conditions that put many communities in the dark. And yes, we still have work to do on that, but we fared better than many communities. So I'm very proud of our efforts to improve our ability to handle such rain events. You should be also. We did not escape entirely unscathed. We did suffer relatively little disruption from the storms compared to a number of neighboring communities. One more meeting tomorrow in Dearborn with the hopefully many of the mayors and some township city officials. Again, Wayne County, state of Michigan, some federal agents or agencies. And while I have little to present, I just want to make sure that our name is on the top of the list, how they get in contact with us, because the next time we may be the ones hit hard, and I want to know how the infrastructure works so that if there are dollars available for disaster assistance, we know how to access those. And now that concludes my report. I'll turn it over to the township manager.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Item number 1, Recreation Director Search. Just wanted to report that we are continuing the process of evaluating candidates, and will sometime soon be coming forward with a candidate. But we are continuing with that process. Item number 2, Universal Access Non-Motorized Launch. To remind everyone, we had received a Community Development Block Grant to install the universal access kayak ADA type ramp at Water's Edge facility. We did bid the project. It came in way under budget, and in the meantime, due to unforeseen circumstances, actually a delay in the state issuance of our permit, we lost the window of opportunity with the contractor, and they submitted for extras. Well, rather than us just accept those extras, we were looking at a couple different options. One, we're negotiating with that contractor because of those timing issues. And unfortunately, the state of Michigan was going to communicate to us they were issuing the permit, and then decided, due to their internal review requirements, sent this to public notice, which delayed the project the whole summer. So we have not taken that step. The other option that we're evaluating is the block grant people will allow the township to monitor and operate and in a sense manage some of this project. So we're evaluating the process that they would make us follow in order for us to one big purchase, our big item is the purchase of the actual pier facility. And if the township were to purchase it, that would be a considerable amount of savings because of our tax exempt status. So we're looking at that, and hopefully they have some sense of moving ahead. Now, if we were to take this project on at a higher cost, we would in essence be deferring some of our other community development block grant projects. So I'll be obviously communicating with Chairman Ketcher, Trustee Movesso, and the Recreation Commission on whether this project and how it will take place.
Mr. Supervisor, question. Weren't we guaranteed at the meeting that amount of money could not change? I mean, I can remember asking that question and being guaranteed that amount was going to be solid through the whole project. What's the difference? What kind of funds are we talking about?
If we come forward,
No.
It would involve reprogramming. The original contract amount
No,
was
Dale,
68.
okay, it was 68, how much is he asking for now?
They're at 88,000.
What happened to the guarantee that it was 68 and wasn't going to change throughout the project?
The contractor notified us that due to the state delay and their scheduling and their material costs,
Why didn't we know this?
we did not anticipate the state not issuing the permit in the timely manner.
Well, then we couldn't, but we couldn't.
That was an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like we didn't know what the heck we were doing.
Jim,
Or somebody didn't know. Yeah,
we have not accepted the increase.
No, sir.
correct.
We're looking at other options.
Yes, sir.
In no way do I feel that this board would support an increase of that kind of money on a project that was already bid. And furthermore, I think we need to look real close at the contractor that did that as a board, as an issuing board, moving forward. But, before we get all upset and all excited here, I think we need to explore every avenue of bringing this project in under that price. If we have to go out and dig dirt.
Or sand.
And those are the types of things we're trying to get answers on right now, monitoring this project in a different manner, because there's, I guess you could say, a few components to this project. It's not a gigantic, complicated project, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Thanks.
Okay, any other comments for the?
Just one more. You got to remember too that when these contractors turn in their bids, it becomes an open bid once it's opened up, right? And this contractor was the lowest bid. And I think it was, he or she probably saw what he left on the table, and then when the opportunity came to rebid it because the time was out, they saw what they left on the table.
Well, yeah, but
I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what happens when you delay a project, right?
Yeah, but then we shouldn't have had a guarantee that it wasn't going to change.
Obviously, we didn't have a guarantee because it changed.
Well, yeah, someone was wrong. And that just brings up how we shouldn't be doing, we should have our stuff together before we go into these things. And I'm not sure that we know what we're doing on all these projects.
Other comments? Okay, that closes your
Yeah,
report. Okay.
I wanted to report that this was going on, and I can honestly tell you at this point in time, I don't know what the Recreation Commission, what kind of direction they're going to want us to take with this.
Okay.
I will say one thing, Mr. Supervisor. There is a Recreation Commission meeting that's coming Thursday, and it will be brought up and discussed at that time. But just to assure you, everything was going as scheduled until the state came back and changed some requirements. So we had to do a public notification. That delayed things, and by a very short span of time, the low bidding contractor took advantage of that fact that they'd gone by that date. And again, it was only by a matter of a few days, right? It's a very short period anyways. And decided to, saw what he left on the table, decided to raise his pricing, keeping it well below the next highest bidder. But our hands are tied with the grant money. We have to go with the lowest bidder. So Dale's being very careful what he says, but we are looking at other options. And if we get the approval for those options, it'll save us that money. So going forward, that's what's taking place. We are looking at other alternatives to do this project and finish it off as budgeted.
Thank you, Mr. Modesto. All right, with that, any of the wrap-up comments? Okay, at that time, well, this is the part we've all been waiting for. We're going to turn it over to public comment. You know the rules. Any topic, introduce yourselves. 3 minutes, please. Mr. Clark.
Woody Clark, Park Lane. Legal fees.
On the warrant listed 821, 2014, legal fees, the O'Reilly Rancilio in the amount of $4,413.
Okay, 8189 Horse Mill, there's a road cut. You have a drop and you have a rise in the road cut. So you go over it, you drop, and then you come up again. Is that going to be fixed before you put the chip seal in?
Yes, it would be fixed. I'm not familiar with
Well, you
with
take
that
a
area,
line,
but-
you run it at 35,
Yeah.
you'll find it, and you run it at 39, you'll really find it. Okay, did we lose the left-hand trucks? Did we lose the trucks over here? Left-hand drive trucks.
That
We
would
had
be,
left-hand drive trucks were over there. I hear they went away.
No,
Nope.
they're still here. Contract's still valid. They've had some startup problems. They're reorganizing.
I heard
Where it's going to go from there, I don't know. But at this point in time, they've moved all the trucks inside,
Okay,
and they've gone dormant, at least temporarily.
because I heard that they went to Singapore and they had to fix them all when they got over there.
I don't know any of the details.
Okay.
It's all hearsay to me,
I know.
and I don't know any of the details.
Cutting.
They're still paying the rent, so.
Okay. Cutting November, around November 1st will be the cutting, and dump the junk will probably be the middle of October, approximately. We'll know what the exact date will be. Okay, here we go. This is all about sugar. Americans consume average 765 grams of sugar every 5 days. Now we consume 17 cans of soda. Americans consume 130 pounds of sugar every year. More than the last one, 130 pounds equals 1,767,900 Skittles. Or just fill up a dumpster truck. Art American Association recommends consumes less than 10 teaspoons of sugar a day. The average American misses the mark a lot. They have about 12. They have about 22 teaspoons a day. Average child gets 32. Our sugar consumption in plain sight hidden, ingested in the most unlikely places. Cookies, potato chips, ketchup, dinners, TV dinners. 1 can of Coke, 12 ounces, contains 10 teaspoons of sugar goodness. That's the average of 2 Pop-Tarts and a Twinkie. The average consumer consumes 53 gallons of soda a year. Let's do the math. 128 ounces of gallon times 53, that's 6,784 ounces. And that averages out to 565 cans of soda. If you took away the sugar in the average American, you would subtract 500 calories a day. Of course, since we're not taking it away, that means you're adding 500 calories of soda a day to your waistline. This is like eating 10 strips of bacon a day. And that's it. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
On dump the junk, is that, on your your projected dump the junk date?
The middle.
The middle. Is that going to be electronics, junk?
You talk to him about electronics. You talk to him about electronics.
Okay, I was wondering if that was going to include all that.
He's the one that's got to make that
I was
decision.
just wondering.
Yeah, no electronics until he says.
Okay.
You can bring batteries. If we bring the batteries, you have to have them taped. The 9-volt batteries. They have to be taped, or we won't accept them.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
How about the day job?
Mr. Nelson.
Jim Nelson, Real Road. After hearing this evening's discussion about the hockey rink and playing in Trustee Budney's grandson's golf outing coming up in September, correct? I would like to know who to write a check to for $100 to go toward the fundraiser for the hockey rink here in Grosse Ile.
$150.
I owe Jim Budney $100 for his
And as-
grandsons.
and as an
$100 I want to write, so I'll make it out to Groesville Township. You can give it to him.
Check with the,
Groesville Township, escrow fund, and we'll, and put on your check that is to the ice rink.
Very good, thank you.
thank you, Mr. Nelson. Anybody else want to make a contribution? Mrs. Walker?
Contribution to that.
Oh, okay, well, you can speak anyway.
Hi, Kathy Walker, Thorpe Court. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for all your support for the We Kayak. We've recently gotten the life ring and the pulley thing to save people. Thank you, Dale. I don't know what it's called, but it's important. And yeah, it's wonderful. We've had so many responses. I haven't given you an update this year. I thought I'd give you a real quick one. We've had people from Bloomfield, we've had doctors, we've had executives, we've also had factory workers, people from working on the airplanes. So we've had a real diverse mix of people coming, and it's been very well received. The reason we're doing this after-party paddle is because Trustee Malvesto thought it'd be a great idea, and of course I agree. And so we want to encourage everyone to come, including the entire board. You don't have to paddle, but if you want to, Dale, you should come and paddle for our last night. And RKC is very involved with us, Riverside Kayaking. They've been wonderful. They're doing this all for free for us. They come and sponsor, whether they have people there or not. So I really want to encourage everybody to come. If you have an interest in kayaking, if you just want to see what's going on, we're going to have a nice little get-together. It's going to be family-oriented, man. We can talk about paddling. So I hope everybody comes. Hopefully it'll be in the newspaper, Lena, and we'll go from there. Do you have
I've
any
got a
questions?
question.
Yes,
What
sir.
time is the after party?
The after party starts, we'll probably, the kayaking is from 6 till 8, but usually we get in about 7:30. Tom will be there. We'll have food going on. There's going to be music. It'll be just a nice, wholesome thing. Everything's donated, so there's no cost, Mr. Bundy, and I understand where you're coming from. And that'll be fine. So I hope everybody comes, and anybody listening, if you have an interest at all in kayaking or just kind of curious, come on down. It's really it'll be a nice time, and it's the 9th, it's a Tuesday night at Bridge Cove, the north end of the Water's Edge Marina. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Other comment from the public present? All right, with none offered, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Moved by Trustee Pozas, supported by, I missed it, by Trustee Bundy. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. We stand adjourned at 8:54. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Be safe out there, and see you in 2 weeks.